IO's Retro Rush. We're still on episode 5 with this never-ending episode, and this is part 2 of that episode. And this time around, we're going to jump back in for a continuation of the last episode, where we're going to talk about the ISFL Season 57 stat leaders with passing, rushing, receiving, and defense. We're going to look at the playoffs leading into Week 1. I understand this is getting released after Week 2 and we're already in the championship, but just bear with me. It took me a couple days to get this edited and put out there. So we're going to jump right in, right where the first one left off. If you want to go and look at how Season 57's regular season was and the Season 57 Sabercat season, go look at Part 1. This is Part 2, so stay tuned. We're going to jump right into it.
Now, let's go ahead and take a look at player totals. Over on the passing side, we have Von Turbo, quarterback from the Crash, who led the league with 4,454 yards, 34 touchdowns. Leia Organa, quarterback from Colorado, 4,443 yards, 12 touchdowns. Just a few yards shy, and still right there in the top 3 in the 4,400 club. We have a Dub, who is at 4,423 yards, and 26 touchdowns. But we have Picks, Baltimore quarterback, 4,146 yards with 38 touchdowns on the year as the top touchdown getter of the quarterbacks. Now let's run over to the rushing champs. Top of the rushing charts, we have De La Serna, running back from the San Jose Sabercats. 1,446 yards, 12 touchdowns. We have Strong from OCO with 1,394 yards, 10 touchdowns. We got Moon, running back from Sarasota, with 1,387 yards, 9 touchdowns. Min Zhong, running back from Osaka, 1,249 yards, 11 touchdowns. And the last running back in the 1,200 club, Mick Morris, running back from Colorado, 1,212 with 10 touchdowns. Solid performances there from our rushing leaders. Going over to the receiving side, we have Colorado receiver Rockstone with 1,490 yards, 11 touchdowns. The only member of the 1,400 club, Williamson, Sarasota with 1,377, 8 touchdowns. BA, receiver from NOLA, 1,324 yards, 9 touchdowns. We now get to the 1,200 club. D. Jackson, New York Silverbacks, 1,274 yards through the air, 9 touchdowns. Let's take a look at your touchdown leader with 13 touchdowns. We have Catcherman, receiver from Osaka, with 1,116 yards, 13 touchdowns. And just to throw that in there, Ezra Torrent was the top touchdown getter for San Jose. He had 926 yards on the season, 10 touchdowns. Pretty solid year. So let's go ahead and take a look at the defense, because, that's where champions are made. The top tacklers, we have Rosenthal, 150 from Osaka. Sarasota's Domain, 136. Yellowknife linebacker Dozer, 131. And linebacker from Black Forest, P-Ghost, 130. Those are your top tackler getters at linebacker. And you got to go down a little bit of ways to find a top cornerback tackler with Toe Me with 101 tackles. Ware from OCO with 196 tackles. And Bowman from NOLA, 94 tackles. Now let's look at that tackle for loss number with 19. We have Feet Lover from Colorado with 19. Linebacker P-Ghost from Black Forest, 15 tackles for loss. And then Rosenthal from Osaka, 14 tackles for loss. And B. Jones from Black Forest, again, 14 tackles for loss. Now let's look at those sack numbers. Woo-wee, 20 sacks tied. We have Strong from Colorado, tied at 20 with Rivers from Baltimore. And then Osaka's Rosenthal, 19 linebacker. And then 19 again from NOLA. We have Mannheim, 19 sacks on the year. And then we got 17 sacks from Arizona linebacker Q. Now let's go ahead and look at the defensive tackles. The top defensive tackle, we have 16 sacks. He had 9 tackles for loss, 55 tackles from OCO's WAG. And then Honolulu's defensive tackle, P-Monster, 15 sacks, 64 tackles, 9 tackles for loss. Defensive tackle from San Jose, Hajla Mollison, 14 sacks. Pretty good getting the big boys going. Now let's go ahead and run on over to the playoffs and take a quick look, preview / first round. In the ASFC, we have the 4 seed Sabercats taking on the 1 seed, the Otters, in the first round. And then we have the 2 seed second line taking on the 3 seed Honolulu over there in the ASFC. In the NSFC, we have the 1 seed Baltimore taking on the 4 seed Kaiju, and the 2 seed Crash taking on the 3 seed Brood. Good to see the Brood and the Kaiju in there. So let's go ahead and break down the first round here, starting with my San Jose Sabercats taking on the Otters. In the first quarter, we would have no score, but the Otters would then jump ahead in the second quarter with 10 points. Third quarter, no score, and then San Jose tried to come back there at the end with 3 points with a very defensive matchup between these two pretty decent offenses. We have the Otters taking the game 10-3. For San Jose, Rockman, not the best game. He had 2 interceptions, no touchdowns, sacked 3 times, a 53.5% passer rating, only 215 yards through the air. The league rushing champ, De La Serna, couldn't get anything really going, as he did have 52 yards on 14 carries with 3.7 yards a carry, but they just seemed to not be able to break anything. No touchdowns from their running backs. Receiving wise, Erickson had a good game, 75 yards through the air. Goatbert 65, Torrent 40. No touchdowns for anybody over there. For OCO, Vega Jr., again, not the best game. Sacked 5 times, 148 yards through the air. But Strong had 65 yards on 21. They just kept giving him the ball, and he finally broke through for 1 touchdown to be the difference in the game. And the receivers, no receiver caught more than 40 yards out of the entire course. So very defensive matchup that just couldn't get done by San Jose. The 5 sack getters, we have Hajmarlson, Sayao, Collins, and Princess Donut all getting 1 sack on the defense. So the Otters move on to the next round. Second round, we have second line taking on Honolulu. This one, another tight match with the second line coming out on top, 20-17, pulling it out in overtime with a field goal. For the second line, the quarterback, Deeth Wilson, 311 yards through the air, 1 touchdown, but he had 3 interceptions that didn't quite cost him the game, only a 57.4 passer rating. Over on the other side, McDougal, 208 yards through the air, no touchdowns, no INTs, sacked 5 times. Over the rushing side, the running backs for either team really couldn't get anything going. For second line, Joe, 13 carries, 38 yards, 1 touchdown. Hammerhead, or B-Hammer, 54 yards, no touchdowns for Honolulu. On to the receiving side. This was the difference maker with BA, 9 receptions, 16 targets, 118 yards through the air, averaged 13.1 yards a catch, had a 39-yard bomb. No touchdowns, but was the offensive engine, as the touchdown came to Benny the Jet on a 39 yards, 1 touchdown receiving game. pretty good game for second line as they take it. And now they play Orange County in the ASFC Championship next week, or next game. In the NSFC, the Kaiju and the Hawks take the first game with Baltimore, kind of dominating this one, 24-7, as the Kaiju couldn't get anything on the board until the fourth quarter. Baltimore's quarterback picks, had 202 yards, 1 touchdown, 85.7 passer rating, with Toa Saka on the other side, 257 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, sacked 4 times. Pretty good pass rating of 90. The running game for the Osaka just couldn't get going. No running back averaged more than 3 yards a carry, no touchdowns. Q Robinson had 61 yards on 14 carries for Baltimore with a touchdown, and DeGuile had 22 yards and a touchdown. Through the air, Landshark, 52 yards, 1 touchdown, with Novak, 59 yards, no touchdown. Catcher man for Osaka had 101 yards through the air, no touchdowns, but just couldn't get it done. Looking at sacks, Big Chanos had 2 sacks for Baltimore. Good game there. And then, but for Osaka, they also had quite a bit of sacks. But the leader there was Rosenthal. Also had 8 tackles. Moving on to the next game, we have the Crash taking on the Brood. And again, it looks like it's going to be all top seeds here this year, with the Crash taking the victory 12-2 with a field goal in the fourth quarter to take the game. Quarterback Von Turbo had 154 yards, no touchdowns, sacked 4 times. A lot of sacks this season, or this playoffs, really. Vinland, 194 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 5 sacks. On the rushing side for the Crash, this was carried by Zigstep, 18 carries, 101 yards. No touchdowns, but just was the engine for the game. And then the receiving side for the Crash, not a lot there, as only Slick Jr. had more than 43 yards, or more than 40 yards with 43, no touchdowns. And let's see here. So it looks like the defense. Oh no, let's see. Where did this was just field goals for the Crash. They had 3 wow, I didn't notice that. So this was an no touchdown victory for the Crash. As a Chiefs fan, I know how that feels. We had a playoff loss with no touchdowns. As the Brood had the only touchdown thrown by Vinland and caught by Turbo, who had 69 yards through the air, 1 touchdown. So that'll do it. So in the NSFC, we will have the Crash, 2 seed, taking on the 1 seed Baltimore. And in the ASFC, we have the 1 seed Otters taking the 2 seed second line to see who will go on to the championship. Well, that'll do it for this week's IO's Retro Rush recap, as we kind of looked at the season, looked at the playoffs, looked at the stats. Pretty big show, but we are here and we are trying to keep up and maybe do one again next week now that we have a little bit more time on our hands. Thanks again. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. This has been IO Torrent with IO Retro Rush.